Have you ever paused to wonder why some voices command the room while others fade into the background? It's not about who shouts the loudest or who's armed with the most impressive resume. The ancient Stoics knew this well. True respect is earned not by force, but by the quiet power of a well-chosen word, spoken with intention and integrity. Imagine this. A person enters a bustling forum in ancient Rome. They don't raise their voice or demand attention. 1. Let go of the habit of saying, "I'm sorry." Too often, have you ever caught yourself apologizing for something that wasn't even your fault? Here's the hard truth. Every unnecessary "I'm sorry" chips away at your credibility and self-respect. The Stoics believed that how we carry ourselves reflects our inner values. If you apologize for every trivial thing, you're not being polite, you're broadcasting self-doubt. Think of it this way. Every time you apologize without reason, it's as though you're silently saying, "Please don't value what I have to say. I don't either." Let me paint you a picture. You walk into a meeting 2 minutes late because of a traffic jam. You say, "Sorry I'm late," even though the delay was beyond your control. What have you just done? You've framed yourself as a problem when, in truth, you were simply dealing with life. Or imagine someone bumps into you on a crowded street and you reflexively mutter, "Oh, sorry." For what? Existing in their path? I'll share a personal moment of clarity. I once found myself in a discussion at work. Someone interrupted me mid-sentence, and instead of holding my ground, I said, "Oh, sorry, go ahead." That's when it hit me. I was apologizing for being interrupted, apologizing for having a voice. That moment forced me to confront how often I undermined myself with meaningless apologies. From then on, I made a conscious effort to pause before saying, "I'm sorry." I asked myself, do I truly owe an apology, or am I just trying to make myself small? The answer, more often than not, was no. And here's what I discovered. Apologizing unnecessarily isn't just a habit, it's a mindset. It's as if you're apologizing for your very existence, for taking up space, for being human. And when you do that, people start to believe it. But here's the Stoic truth. You don't need to apologize for being here. You have every right to take up space, to have opinions, and yes, to make mistakes. Respect begins when you stop diminishing yourself. So, how do you rewrite the script? Instead of, "Sorry I'm late," try, "Thank you for your patience." Instead of, "Sorry to bother you," say, "Do you have a moment?" Replace, "Sorry, can I add something?" with, "I'd like to add something." These subtle shifts aren't just about words. They're about owning your presence and standing tall. The next time you feel an "I'm sorry" on the tip of your tongue, stop and ask yourself, is this apology truly necessary, or am I simply trying to fade into the background? When you respect yourself, you invite others to do the same. Let go of unnecessary apologies and watch as your voice begins to command the respect it deserves. 2. Set boundaries and honor them. Let's be honest. If you're not setting boundaries, you're not being generous. You're being a doormat. Harsh? Maybe. But think about it. How many times have you agreed to something you didn't want to do just to avoid conflict? How often have you let someone overstep because you didn't want to seem difficult? Setting boundaries isn't about building walls. It's about building respect for yourself and from others. The Stoics taught that your peace of mind is your responsibility. Without boundaries, you give others permission to disturb it. Imagine your life is like a fortress. Boundaries are the gates. They don't shut people out, but ensure only the right things come in. Without gates, chaos enters freely, and suddenly you're sacrificing your time, energy, and sanity for the comfort of others. Sound familiar? That's why you're stuck answering emails at midnight or fixing problems others created. Let me share a personal story. A colleague used to drop their incomplete work on my desk, expecting me to clean up their mess. I kept saying yes, thinking I was being a team player. But one late evening, as I stayed back to finish yet another one of their tasks, it hit me. Why am I paying for their lack of responsibility with my time? The next time they tried, I calmly said, "I can't take this on. You'll need to handle it." Were they annoyed? Yes. Did they figure it out? Also, yes. And I finally left work on time. Here's the uncomfortable truth. When you start setting boundaries, people may push back. Why? Because they've grown comfortable with you overextending yourself. I once told a friend I couldn't help them move because I already had plans. Their guilt trip was immediate. "Wow, I thought I could count on you." For a moment, I wavered. But then I realized this wasn't about me being a bad friend. It was about them not respecting my time. I stuck to my decision. They found someone else, and our friendship remained intact. People adapt, but only if you hold firm. Boundaries aren't acts of selfishness. They're acts of self-respect. They protect your well-being and teach others how to treat you. And here's a tip. When setting boundaries, don't over-explain. A simple no is enough. No excuses, no apologies. Practice with small things, like declining an invitation you're not interested in. Each no strengthens your resolve, making it easier to stand firm when it matters most. Remember, the people who get upset about your boundaries are often the ones who benefited from your lack of them. And honestly, let them go. Setting boundaries isn't about rejecting others. It's about choosing to honor yourself. The world won't end when you say no, but your respect for yourself will begin to grow. So set the boundary. Trust me, it's one of the most freeing things you'll ever do. 3. Master the art of pausing. Feel that momentary tension when I paused. That's the power of silence. It demands attention. In a world overflowing with noise, the ability to pause is like discovering an oasis in a desert. Yet most people fear silence, rushing to fill it with words out of discomfort. But here's the Stoic truth. The pause isn't emptiness. It's where your strength resides. We live in a culture that glorifies speed. The fast talker is often seen as sharp, confident, and persuasive. But speed can be a double-edged sword. When you rush your words, they blur together like an endless stream, heard but rarely absorbed. A pause, on the other hand, is like punctuation in a sentence. It gives rhythm, clarity, and weight to your message. Think of a song with no rests or changes in tempo, just relentless noise. It's exhausting, isn't it? Pauses in speech work the same way. They create space for reflection, turning simple words into impactful moments. I wasn't always comfortable with pausing. I used to fill every silence, thinking that constant talking projected confidence. Meetings, conversations, even casual chats, I was a whirlwind of words. But it didn't earn me respect. It made me exhausting to listen to. One pivotal moment changed everything. I was pitching an idea at work, passionately detailing every aspect of my proposal. I noticed my audience's eyes glaze over. After the meeting, my manager told me, "You've got great ideas, but you don't give people time to digest them." That hit me hard. Determined to improve, I started practicing the pause. At first it felt awkward, like I was leaving a void that begged to be filled. But as I grew more intentional, something remarkable happened. People began leaning in. When I paused, they didn't just hear me, they listened. Each word carried more weight because I gave it the space to resonate. The turning point came during a presentation. I deliberately slowed my pace, adding pauses after key points. When I finished, a colleague approached me and said, "That was incredibly impactful. It felt like every word mattered." That's when I realized the pause isn't just a tool, it's an expression of confidence. It says, "I trust my words to speak for themselves." Pausing goes beyond speech. It's about presence. The Stoics taught that composure in the face of chaos is a reflection of inner strength. A deliberate pause conveys that you're thoughtful, intentional, and not afraid of silence. It forces others to respect the gravity of your words. But let's address the fear. If I pause, won't people think I'm uncertain? On the contrary, pausing signals deliberation, not hesitation. It shows you value your message enough to let it breathe. And if someone misreads your pause as insecurity, that's their misjudgment, not your failure. Pausing also teaches patience, a virtue the Stoics championed. It slows down the pace of conversation, allowing ideas to settle and emotions to cool. In a world rushing to be heard, the one who speaks with care and calm commands the most respect. So here's my challenge to you. The next time you speak, resist the urge to fill every gap. Trust the pause. Embrace the discomfort. Let the silence speak as loudly as your words. Because when you master the art of pausing, you don't just earn respect, you own the room. And that, my friend, is the power of deliberate silence. 4. Use humor without turning into a clown. Humor is like a sharp blade. Used wisely, it carves connections and commands attention. Used carelessly, it cuts away at your credibility. Let's be real. Nothing diminishes respect faster than when someone crosses the line from being witty to being a clown. That might sound blunt, but here's the truth. Humor, when misused, does more harm than good. So how do you wield humor to earn respect rather than lose it? First, let's acknowledge its power. Humor breaks tension, creates rapport, and even signals intelligence. There's research to back that up. A well-placed joke can make you memorable, likable, and approachable. But here's the catch. Humor is a double-edged sword. If you lean on it too heavily, especially in self-deprecating ways, it can erode the respect you're trying to build. When humor becomes a crutch, it stops being a strength and starts being a weakness. I've been there. I used to be the guy with a joke for every occasion. I thought it made me charming, but in reality, it made me seem like I wasn't serious about myself or anything else. I'll never forget one particular meeting. I cracked a joke about my workload. "Oh, I'm just here to make spreadsheets look pretty." Everyone laughed, but afterward my manager told me, "You're too good at your job to sell yourself short like that." That hit me. My humor was getting attention, sure, but not the kind of respect I wanted. So here's the Stoic perspective. Humor must serve a purpose. Are you using it to connect or to deflect? To add value or to mask insecurity? A little self-deprecating humor can be disarming, showing humility and relatability. But overuse it, and people might start believing the punchline. It's a fine line between laughing with people and giving them permission to laugh at you. True humor, like true confidence, is balanced and deliberate. It requires timing, intent, and restraint. Think of humor as seasoning. Too little, and the conversation feels bland. Too much, and it overpowers the message. For instance, sarcasm can be witty and sharp, or cutting and alienating. Dark humor might connect with the right crowd, but completely miss the mark with others. The key is knowing your audience and reading the room. A poorly timed joke can turn admiration into second-hand embarrassment faster than you think. Humor is also a reflection of character. Are you using it to uplift or to tear down? Are you masking discomfort or embracing confidence? I had to learn this the hard way. There was a time when I deflected difficult feedback with jokes, hoping to lighten the mood. But instead of showing strength, I came across as someone unwilling to face reality. The result? People stopped taking me seriously. Here's the Stoic lesson. Humor isn't just about making people laugh. It's about making them feel something: connection, trust, camaraderie. When used thoughtfully, it reveals self-assurance. When used recklessly, it reveals insecurity. Respect doesn't come from how many laughs you get. It comes from how your humor lands and what it says about you. So before you crack a joke, pause. Ask yourself, what's my intent? Am I using humor to enhance this moment, or am I hiding behind it? Use humor sparingly, with purpose and confidence, and you'll command attention and respect. And if in doubt, remember this: a clever, well-timed dad joke can work wonders, unless it's terrible. In that case, maybe rethink your strategy. 5. Drop the gossip. Let's talk about gossip, the tempting little habit that feels harmless but erodes your character faster than you realize. Whether it's the juicy update about Karen from accounting or that secret your friend begged you to keep, gossip isn't just idle chatter, it's a reflection of who you are. And here's the Stoic truth: if you're the one spilling the tea, you're not earning respect. You're broadcasting that you can't be trusted. I get it. Gossip feels good in the moment. It's like social glue, making you feel included and in the know. But here's the harsh reality: every time you indulge in it, you're silently telling those around you, I value being entertaining more than being trustworthy. And if people can't trust you, they won't respect you. Simple as that. Let me share a personal wake-up call. There was a colleague, let's call him Dave, who often showed up late to work. One day, I joked to another co-worker, maybe his alarm clock just doesn't like him. It was a throwaway comment, but it spread like wildfire. Soon, people were embellishing the story. Dave was lazy, unmotivated, didn't care about his job. And then it happened. Dave found out I'd started it. Here's the worst part. Dave wasn't lazy. He was late because he was caring for his sick mother. That realization hit me hard. What I thought was harmless humor turned out to be cruel and deeply unfair. In trying to be funny, I betrayed not only Dave, but also my own values. The truth is, gossip isn't really about the person being talked about. It's about you. Why do we gossip? To feel interesting, superior, to distract from our own flaws. Most gossip stems from insecurity, as if we're saying, don't look at me, look at them. But here's the kicker. When you gossip, people aren't judging the person you're talking about. They're judging you. Now let's flip the script. What happens when you refuse to engage in gossip? When you become the person who doesn't partake in the drama? People notice. They start to see you as trustworthy, grounded, and mature. Someone who values integrity over cheap laughs. That's the kind of person others respect. When I decided to step away from gossip, it was a game changer. Instead of diving into, did you hear about conversations, I'd say something neutral like, I hope things work out for them. It felt awkward at first, but over time I noticed a shift. People started coming to me for advice, for support, even for deeper conversations. I wasn't just avoiding negativity, I was building credibility. The Stoics believed that our actions should align with our values. Gossip, at its core, is a betrayal of those values. It chips away at your self-respect, damages relationships, and leaves you stuck in a cycle of negativity. When you rise above it, you're making a powerful statement. I don't need to tear others down to feel whole. That's where real respect begins. And let's face it, the person who's always gossiping, they're also the person others avoid trusting. They don't get promoted, don't get included in important discussions, and often end up isolated when the stakes are high. Gossip might make you popular for a moment, but it won't earn you lasting respect. So, the next time you're tempted to share that tidbit, pause and ask yourself, is this worth my integrity? Instead of spreading negativity, be the person who builds others up, even in their absence. Respect doesn't come from spilling the tea, it comes from refusing to pour it. And as for Karen from accounting, she's probably just out there living her best life. Leave her in peace. 6. Know when to stop talking. Here's a tough pill to swallow. Most people talk too much, and if that stings a little, good. It means we're about to grow. The uncomfortable truth is that saying too much often undermines your message. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is nothing. Yet, the urge to over-explain, fill silences, or repeat ourselves feels almost irresistible, doesn't it? Why do we do this? Let's face it, it's insecurity. We fear silence because we think it makes us look unsure or unprepared. So we keep talking, hoping to sound smart or convincing. But here's the paradox. Over-talking doesn't make you seem confident. It makes you seem desperate. Let me share a personal lesson. I was pitching an idea to a client, and it started great. They were engaged, nodding, clearly interested. But instead of stopping and letting my point land, I kept going. I rephrased the same idea, threw in extra details, and even started answering questions they hadn't asked yet. By the end, their initial interest turned into confusion. Afterward, my boss told me, "You had them in the first minute, but you lost them because you didn't stop talking." That hit hard. I realized I wasn't giving people the space to absorb my words. I was overwhelming them. Here's the Stoic reality. The more you talk, the less impact your words have. It's like pouring water into an already full glass. It overflows, and nothing sticks. Silence, however, is where respect lives. A well-placed pause gives your words weight. It shows confidence and allows others the time to process and engage. But let's be honest, silence can feel excruciating. You make a point, and instead of immediate feedback, there's a pause. Suddenly your mind screams, "Say something else, fill the gap." Resist that urge. Silence isn't your enemy, it's your ally. Those moments of stillness give others the chance to truly hear and reflect on what you've said. Knowing when to stop talking isn't just about communication. It's about self-assurance. It's about trusting that your words hold value without needing constant reinforcement. Silence demonstrates that you're comfortable with your message and confident enough to let it stand on its own. Think about some of history's most memorable speeches or quotes. They weren't long-winded or padded with filler. They were concise, deliberate, and impactful. The art of knowing when to stop talking is like leaving a party at the peak of the fun. You leave people wanting more, not wishing you'd go home. I started applying this in my personal life too. At family gatherings, I used to fill every quiet moment with jokes or long-winded stories, thinking it kept the conversation alive. One day, I decided to stop. I made my points, then let the conversation flow naturally. What happened? people began listening more intently and asking for my input. By speaking less, I actually said more. Here's the takeaway. When you learn to stop talking, you invite respect. You show that you trust your words to carry their own weight, and you create space for others to engage meaningfully. And yes, it takes practice. Sitting with silence can feel uncomfortable at first, but that discomfort is where growth happens. So, next time you're in a conversation, remember, say what you mean, then stop. Let the silence work for you. It's not a void, it's a space where your words resonate. Trust me, when you master this skill, people won't just hear you, they'll respect you. See what I did there? And there you have it. Powerful ways to speak so people respect you. We've covered some tough truths, shared a few laughs, and hopefully sparked a new perspective. But let's get real. Respect isn't about memorizing tips or tricks. It's about how you carry yourself every single day. It's about showing up with intention, owning your voice, and treating others and yourself with dignity. Words hold incredible power. They can heal, inspire, and connect, or they can hurt, dismiss, and divide. The way you speak doesn't just shape how others see you, it defines how you see yourself. Whether it's dropping unnecessary apologies, setting firm boundaries, or mastering the pause, remember, respect is an inside job. The way you honor your words teaches the world how to honor you. If this resonated with you, or if you're just here for the ride, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, share it with someone who could use these insights, and let me know in the comments, which idea are you going to try first? Or better yet, share your own strategies for earning respect. I'd love to hear them. And if you haven't already, subscribe to join this journey. This is where we tackle real-life challenges with a mix of Stoic wisdom, practical tools, and maybe a few bad jokes along the way. Until next time, keep speaking with purpose, keep standing tall, and never stop striving to be the best version of yourself. I'll see you in the next video, because we're just getting started. Stay strong.